Yeah, the ideas were, I don't know whether you remember or not, while taking the disk, when we have taken disk, okay, in that one we have considered a ring, but ring was imagined to be a kind of, what to say, like this, isn't it? The ring was imagined like this. I mean, it was on the plane, am I right? It was on the plane. Suppose this ring have got a thickness dr of radius r, then it is r to r plus dr. Inner radius is r, outer radius is r plus dr. Then we have written surface area of the ring. I mean total surface area, that is elementary. Small surface area, that's equal to 2 pi r into dr. Am I right? So we have one more problem, cone problem. Cone problem. Where so he said height of the cone is same as radius of the base. Am I right? So it's very difficult to draw. Yeah. So this height is same as this one. Okay. So that's a kind of ice cream cone over which I mean that on that surface you have surface charge density sigma. You have to find potential difference from this point and this point. This point he called this one as point A. This point he called this one as point B with respect to some origin. Okay, position vector with respect to some origin. He asked us to find what is the potential difference, isn't it? Now look at here, to integrate again we need to relate somehow. Yeah, we will have sigma. Am I right? Sigma is the surface charge here. Am I right? How you have written dq? So total charge on this one dq. How you have written? Sigma into 2 pi r dr. Am I right? We need same idea here. Is it okay? But look at here. Suppose if you are finding potential from this point. Okay. If you are finding potential from this point, again you can use your ring problem, isn't it? Cone is it's a collection of ring of various radius, but you have to integrate vertically. Here you have integrated like this, am I right? So now if you have to integrate vertically also. Is that okay? So that is the small difference here. So that's why, look at here. Once you have taken one ring, suppose, I have taken one ring which is elementary for this structure. Okay, elementary part of this whole thing. Okay. Now, how do you relate that ring, its radius, like that to what you call the sigma, isn't it? That is the main idea that we have taken. We have taken the ring, but how we have written dq? That's the main point over there, isn't it? Now again, you should define somehow what you call radius, not only radius of the ring. You should define the what you call surface area of the ring, fractional surface area because of the ring. That's what we have done over there. Fractional surface area, isn't it? So that's why what we do here is we are going to take it like this. Can you just imagine? It is like this actually. Can you just imagine this one? That okay. So you have to take ring like this. Now you have radius r. Is that okay? You have radius r. Now how do you find its surface area? Are you getting my point? Anyway, you have to cut down that cone, am I right, into small part. This is one of the fractional part. How do you write the surface area? Now what he does is, he is going to define an italic r here. He is going to define italic r. Is that okay? So then I think this one was z, am I right? What he has taken? Z. So I need variable. No, okay. This height is same as this one, am I right? So he said this base radius is same as this height. That's why obviously these are equal, what you call, equivalent angle, sorry, so equivalent triangles, isn't it? So then this should be same as this one, okay? I mean, that's how he defined the whole structure, he defined like that. Now look at here, how do you write the surface? Because I need to find the charge due to this one, dq. So due to that ring, okay, now you have to imagine the ring like this. So because a ring will take part of the surface area like this, okay? So that's why, so dq is equal to sigma into dA, elementary area of the ring. How do you write the area of the ring? 2 pi r into d italic r. Can you imagine? So this was extended, okay? So this was italic r, then this should be d italic r in that direction. Are you getting my point? We have written dx in terms of x cap. We have written dr in terms of r cap, isn't it? Like that, you have to define one infinitely small displacement d italic r, that is along italic r direction. Is that okay? So 2 pi r into this d italic r, that will make the surface of the fractional ring. Is that okay? That is the main idea. Once you define this one, now you can proceed. Now you can use your ring answer also. Is that okay? You can use your ring answer also and you can proceed. Okay? Try this problem, let me explain, okay, later. So try this one, let me explain later. But get this idea, this is the main basic idea, dq, how you define that surface due to a ring. You have to consider that one as a ring and then you have to integrate. And how do you take that one as a ring and how do you relate that one to surface charge density? That is the main point. That is the main point we have done here also, remember. How we defined that charge on the ring to the surface area. That was 2 pi r into dr, that's it. But here, if you write a 2 pi r into dr, it will be extended like this. But your ring is not like this now, isn't it? Ring is like this kind of strip now. So that's why 2 pi r into d italic r, that will give the surface area. No, I mean, so you have to divide whole thing of small dr. I mean, whole thing as rings of small thickness dr only, d italic r only, isn't it? That's how we integrate. Yeah, radius will increase. It's not a solid cone. It's ice cream cone. Okay, it's not a solid cone. That's why only radius will be increased. You can take your ring answer. Now, if you define your dq using this one, you can take your ring answer and you can integrate. Now, look at here how italic r runs from 0 to what is this one? This distance, this total root 2 h. Am I right? Root 2 into h. This is h. This is h. This is root 2 into h. So now look at here. What is the potential due to ring? Any idea yesterday? 1 by 4/5 epsilon naught lambda into 2 pi r divided by root of something. Am I right? So dq divided by root of z square plus r square. That's what we have written, isn't it? Now what would happen here is root of z. I mean, this is the point of interest. What is that z? Z is the distance from the center of the ring. I am finding potential at this point now. Is that okay? That's why I have to take this one as z square r square, radius of the ring, that's also r square, root 2r. Is that okay? So that is dV, potential due to a ring. Okay. Now look at here, 1 by 4/5 epsilon naught dq is sigma into 2 pi r into d italic r. Look at here, root 2 r. I was thinking about what to do with r. You got two variable. R is also variable, italic r is also variable. Now look at here, it got cancelled. D italic r, run it from, I mean, now it is scalar, remember, scalar dr. Run it from 0 to root 2 h. It's over. You got potential at this point. But to find potential at this point, it is little problematic. Any other idea? Now we can't define that dr kind of thing when you take a point here. Look at here. Then your italic r will be this one. Am I right? This is the point of interest. From source to field is your italic r. Okay, let me put it as italic r prime. Okay, let me make it as italic r prime. So then what would happen is, using this vector you can't define its surface area. Are you getting my point? It is just like this. In this structure, you have one more point somewhere here, and you have one more vector from source to field. Am I right? Source to field point. Here I have to take ulta, whatever. Okay. So now this is suppose italic r prime. Now look at here. Using this italic r prime, you can't define this surface area that easily. So this r, this dr, 2 pi r into dr, you got that surface area of the strip. But using this one, you can't define the surface area. Again, you have to write this one in terms of this r, and then you have to do the integral. So that's the lengthy part, next part actually. Okay. So try that one. So grab the idea. So let me solve it later. Okay. Let me proceed with the theory. Now he listed out some series of formulas, whatever we have done here. Okay, we had three quantities. One is charge density, V, potential, and electric field. Three parameters, am I right? We are going to switch over. I mean, so charge density means it may be surface charge density also sometimes, or point charge, whatever. Okay. Now look at here. From this one, how do you get potential? Yeah. From this one, how do you get the charge density? This you should know, because there will be, again, after studying whole theory, you may forget that one. I mean, if they have given electric field, if they ask what is the charge density, you may think 5 minutes. Remember, how do you find? Take divergence, Gauss law, isn't it? Like that. Okay. You should have that idea. I mean, quickly. You should quickly come to your mind. If you have rho, suppose if it is finite charge distribution, dq by, rho r prime d tau prime divided by italic r. Isn't it? You'll get the potential using the charge density. If you have the potential, how do you get rho? Rho by epsilon naught, am I right? Rho is equal to minus epsilon naught del square V. Don't forget. Okay. By giving the potential, he may ask what is that was the problem, I think, am I right? That was the outside problem that he asked somewhere. Yeah, potential is given 2.50, 50th problem. Okay, do that one. So from here to here, how do you go? Potential to electric field. Gradient, am I right? Electric field is equal to negative gradient of the potential. That's it. From electric field to potential. Integral, line integral. Am I right? Line integral, if it is finite charge distribution, so E bar dot dl bar, that is potential at R with one more negative sign. If you know electric field, what would you do? Rho is equal to epsilon naught del dot T. I have to write like this, because so from electric field, how to find rho? You have to write equation for rho. Am I right? Del dot T is equal to rho by epsilon naught. From rho, what will you do? You have to go for Coulomb's law. Am I right? So electric field at R is equal to 1 by 4 phi epsilon naught integral of rho of r prime d tau prime divided by italic. R square r cap, not a potential. Is that okay? Now we shall start working out some boundary conditions. This is the whole thing that we have done, okay, until now. boundary conditions. Now let me take one surface, okay. Let me take one surface which contains surface charge distribution sigma. Okay, which contains surface charge distribution sigma. I think I told earlier, am I right? Whenever there is a surface charge, just go for the problems, earlier problem. Your electric field will suffer discontinuity. Do you remember? If you have a spherical shell which is uniformly charged, inside electric field is 0, outside it is suddenly non-zero. Isn't it? So that's how it happens. Whenever there is a surface charge, electric field will suffer discontinuity. So that's this boundary condition. How they will link over the surface charge like that. Okay. So now just observe those facts. Again, if you have a volume charge density, then electric field was never suffered discontinuity. Remember, just observe that one. Earlier, what is the best example? Yeah, here electric field was 0. What is the electric field here? 1 by 4 phi epsilon naught q by r square r cap. Am I right? Just what you call, don't define electric field over that one because of discontinuity, isn't it? Somebody asked that one. Why? What is the electric field on the surface? Now look at here. You can't define because of discontinuity. It is 0 when r is less. Suppose it is capital R. Okay, your electric field is this kind of function. It is 0 when r is less than r. It is 1 by 4 phi epsilon naught q by r square r cap when r is greater than r. It's a kind of discontinuity, isn't it? When you put r equal to r, these two are not matching, isn't it? So that's why whenever there is a surface charge, electric field will suffer discontinuity. Suppose you had a volume charge density. What is the electric field inside? Any idea? 1 by 4 phi epsilon naught q r by r cube into r cap. Am I right? What is electric field outside? 1 by 4 phi epsilon naught q by r square r cap. This is capital R cube, sorry. Now look at here. If you put r equal to capital R, those two will get matched, isn't it? So because it is volume charge distribution, this is surface charge distribution. Observation is, whenever you have surface charge distribution, your electric field will suffer discontinuity. So one more example. The best example was our plane, infinite plane. Do you remember your electric field was like this above, electric field is like this below? That's not continuity, that's a highly discontinuous. Why? You have electric field like this. When you just move, when you just go across the surface, it is suddenly changing its direction by 180 degrees. Is that okay? So that's also discontinuity. Whenever we had a surface charge, electric field was discontinuous. Wait a second. We had that slab question, do you remember? And we plotted that electric field versus y. That was continuous. Is that okay? That was continuous. Somewhere yesterday we tried to plot this one, this kind of like this, isn't it? Just see this. Slab had a volume charge, am I right? Volume charge density. Thick slab. So again, electric field was continuous. Only when there is a surface charge distribution, it will suffer discontinuity. Okay? Yeah. Any question? So now, it is little tricky here. I mean, again, application of Gauss law only. Now, what I do here is I am going to take very small a patch of Gaussian pillbox, just like what we have done in case of infinite plane. Okay. Of area A. Again, a Gaussian pillbox. Is that okay? And I am going to take this thickness of this one as epsilon. I am going to take thickness of this one as epsilon. Can you just get me the notes? Yeah, let me try. So thickness of that, so that when I say epsilon, and later I am going to put epsilon tends to 0. Again, what do you mean by boundary condition? Boundary condition relates electric field just above and just below. Is that okay? That's why later we are going to put this epsilon tends to 0. Is that okay? So when you apply Gauss law now, Gauss law will choose the electric field at this point and this point. Am I right? Above and below. Gauss law, it's a dot product of E dot dA. Let me just write down, let me just explain how Gauss law will help us to find that boundary condition. Okay, Q enclosed by epsilon naught. Am I right? Q enclosed by epsilon naught. Now, anyway, I'm going to put that epsilon tends to 0. That edge surface will shrink to 0. That's why I'm not going to take that edge surface flux, because later I know the later step. What is the later step? I'll put epsilon tends to 0. Then only flux due to upper and lower surface area will be non-vanishing. Is that okay? That's why I'm going to write E bar dot dA bar above, okay, plus E bar dot dA bar below. If you are not satisfying, let me write E bar dot dA bar adjust. Is that okay? Later I'll make that one 0. I'll not take care of that one. I'll make it 0 once I put epsilon tends to 0. That is equal to, what is Q enclosed? Charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface. This is the Gaussian surface. This closed pillbox, that's the Gaussian surface. Sigma into A divided by epsilon naught, isn't it? Yeah, speak out. No, it just, this is a plane. It just extends above and below. This is the thin plane. This just extends above and below. That's why that Gaussian surface, I mean, it's what you call, cover this much charge. Am I right? Sigma into A. Now, so what we do here is we haven't calculated electric field, remember. I mean, this may be fraction of our total area. This is not our infinite plane. You can't apply Gauss law ideas here. So for a time sake, you have to forget that Gauss law idea, whatever we applied for infinite plane, because that was what you call a kind of symmetry. That's why we argued electric field outward like that, remember. Okay. So for a time sake, you have to forget that one. This may be fraction of your area anyway. Okay. So that's why we are just defining it very, what you call, generally. So that's why what I do here is, I'm going to take electric field somehow in this direction. I don't know, because it's not a plane, remember. Okay, electric field in some direction. Is that okay? Let me take it like this. Suppose, so electric field in this region, let me take it like this. Or, yeah, how should I write? Yeah, let me write it like this. Okay, electric field, it will be like this, suppose, above and below. Near that region, electric field will be like this. So let me assume like that. Don't take Gauss law idea. Okay, don't take Gauss law idea. Suppose, let me assume electric fields are like that. And now look at here, I am going to apply that Gauss law. So to that small patch of area. Okay. So now, don't take earlier infinite plane ideas. Okay. So it will definitely arise a lot of questions. Okay. So try to write the question. Let me answer. Okay. So don't take Gauss, I mean, infinite plane ideas here. The infinite plane idea was, it was a symmetry. Electric field was always outside, outward. Is that okay? So I'm not going to take this one, because this is a fraction of my total area. I want to make it general. Okay. So that this need not be plane again. Okay. Maybe this patch may be plane. Okay. Let me just assume this is small. So if you take very small patch of a large surface area, any shape, that will be plane. Isn't it? Practically. So now look at here. When I run this Gauss law, so here above, look at here, what is this dot product will do actually? Any idea? What the dot product will do? It will take component of a vector. Am I right? So suppose if you need component of a vector along n cap, what would you do? You are going to take dot product with unit vector along that direction. That's we call it as component of a vector. Am I right? Now look at here, dA vector above, it is in this direction. Am I right? dA vector below, it is in this direction. Okay, below surface area, dA vector, it is in this direction. Am I right? So you are taking electric field dot product with dA. What it will do? It will choose the component of electric field along the direction of dA. Isn't it? And again, magnitude of dA is multiplied. Okay, magnitude of dA is multiplied. So that's why what I write here is, look at here, E bar mod E bar into cos theta into dA, mod dA. Can I write like this? Isn't it? What is mod E bar into cos theta? That is the component of electric field. Suppose this is theta. Is that okay? At that surface, what is mod A into cos theta? That's how we write. Am I right? This is mod A into cos theta. That is component. But so in Gauss law, I don't have unit vector. I have dA, but I'll take it outside. But what is this exactly? That is component of electric field along the dA vector direction, or I can say component of electric field perpendicular to the surface at that point. Now you have to ask question whether electric field is variable or not. Isn't it? Electric field may be variable. We have to take generalized situation. It's not symmetry problem. Because you need to do surface integral. Next one. Now my argument is you have to take that surface, whatever pillbox, as small as possible, so that we are talking about discontinuity at one point, one small region. We are not interested here to find electric field everywhere, remember. We are interested to find some discontinuity at one point, I mean at one small region over there. That's why what I do here is one more assumption is, this area, I mean electric field, it need not be uniform, am I right? You have to take most general case. Suppose electric field is non-uniform, then you can take this one outside the integral, am I right? My argument is, take that patch of area as small as possible, so that over that one electric field is practically constant, uniform. So that I am going to take this one outside. Is that okay? And I am going to do the similar thing here. Wait a second. Now, so first part is this one, or let me write it here very clearly. Integral above plus below integral, look at here, below integral mod E cos of some angle, okay? You have to tell me what is that angle, into mod dA vector. I don't have to write this one because I am going to, next my step is putting epsilon tends to 0. What is that angle? Compared to this angle. 180 minus theta. 180 minus theta, can I write like this? Cos of, if this is theta, look at here, again I have assumed electric field like this. If this is theta, what is this one? This one? No, not this one. dA vector. Which angle I am talking? Yeah. So other one, this one. Am I right? This one. This angle. Am I right? So if this is theta, this should be 180 minus theta. This should be 180 minus theta. Now what is it? Cos of 180 minus theta minus cos theta, isn't it? Minus cos theta. Now if I write them, again I'm going to take this outside. Why I can take this outside? Because that is very small patch of area. So I mean very small fraction. Over that one it is practically uniform. Electric field is practically uniform. That is the idea. Are you getting my point? Electric field is like this. Your dA vector is like this below. Okay? Electric field is like this. Okay, earlier you have taken this theta. Now what is this one? 180 minus theta. This was above dA vector theta. 180 minus theta. Now what would happen here is, so mod of E cos theta integral dA minus mod E Cos theta, am I right? Cos of 180 minus theta, I can write as, speak out, minus cos theta, integral mod dA vector, that's equal to sigma A by epsilon naught. Again, along with that one, I'll put epsilon tends to 0. I'm not taking edge surface part. What is that integral dA? That will runs above and below, am I right? So now look at here, that will be E cos theta A minus E cos theta. Wait a second, I have to argue something else. Wait a second. Sigma A by epsilon naught, you can take only last expression. A got cancelled. Okay, that surface area got cancelled. Now look at here, when you put epsilon tends to 0, so what you are getting? So when you put epsilon tends to 0, that upper surface area and lower surface area of our pillbox, they are approaching that surface. Am I right? When they approach surface, remember in that limit, so upper surface area, that dot product, it will choose the component of electric field just above that. Because it's a dot product, am I right? So you can see the cos theta. Am I right? So I better write this one E above cos theta. Can I write like this? Because it will just take electric field component above that one. So what is this one? E below cos theta is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. Okay, what is this whole thing? Electric field into cos theta. Theta is the angle made with the direction which is away from the plane. Am I right? Which is perpendicular to plane. We call this one as component of the electric field, perpendicular component of the electric field above the surface. Can I say like that? We call that one as, wait a second, let me use his, Which one? This one. Mod. No, I mean, look at here. Earlier, this part of the integral, so just trace that one, this was due to dot product below. I should have written here only, yeah. Yeah, that's correct. No, I mean, you again look at the surface where it is running, am I right? In surface integral, you have to take electric field on the surface and you have to take dot product with the dA. So that's why I should have written below here only. Above, can I write like that? So this is above surface, isn't it? What is the surface integral? Surface integral is the field, vector field over there at the surface, dot product with the surface area. So this below surface is below the surface, so below our surface of interest. That's why it will choose the So that's why whatever the electric field is here, you have to take, that is the below one, isn't it? Your surface, in that Gaussian pillbox, your below surface was below, remember. And that dot product will choose the electric field below, yeah. No, I mean, look at here, dA should be always outward while applying Gauss law. Yeah, so what I have assumed is electric field in this whole region is in some arbitrary direction like that, above as well as below. Electric field in whole region it is in some arbitrary direction, and then I am trying to calculate that. Yeah, it will grab the your electric field component along that direction. That's correct. No, I mean initially I assumed, so if suppose this is surface region, I assume electric field like this. I assume electric field is like this. before taking that one, my idea was I had to take electric field like this. Okay, maybe non-uniform. So electric fields are there above and below like this, suppose in this direction, and I have a surface charge. So that is the initial assumption that I have taken. So that's why I try to draw electric field like this. So here, and then it will come out here. I mean, in that region, you have to take one arbitrary electric field. Again, that's why I told don't take the idea of that infinite plane where we take electric field perpendicular here. Am I right? Don't take that idea right now here. Is that okay? To prove this one, just to take electric field like this, above and below the plane, some arbitrary direction, and we have a surface charge over there. Is that okay? When I choose that electric field like this, now look at here. When you take upper surface, you will get some acute angle. Am I right? Theta. When you take lower surface, now so in that lower surface, what would happen here is electric field is dA vector is like this. Electric field is like this. This is 180 minus theta. Is that okay? So that what I have taken here. Electric field is magnitude? No, we can't say like that. Magnitude. Component. Yeah, magnitude is same actually. No, I mean, we don't know that one. I mean, general case. Again, I think we are thinking about that infinite plane problem. Isn't it? Symmetry. Below as well as above, electric field may be same. That's why I told that we could have done this problem first, am I right? Yeah, pick up. I mean, its strength may vary, isn't it? I mean, so from below to above, strength of the electric field. Again, I have to take one arbitrary electric field, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Component of same vector. No, just above and just below. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Wait a second. You are saying these two magnitudes should be same. So he will write everything in one sentence actually. Electric field, your Gauss law dot product will choose the component in that direction and he will move on. Yeah, so what's your argument? If it is same electric field, then it should have same magnitude, just above and below, am I right? But I got one negative sign. Look at here. This is E perpendicular above minus E perpendicular below. That's equal to sigma by epsilon. If they were equal, if those components were equal, they should got 0. Magnitude may be same, isn't it? Again, I think we are thinking again about that infinite plane problem. Symmetry. Isn't it? Our mind was running over that symmetry again. So that's why the problem appears, I think. Is that okay? So, but. Yeah. No, earlier you are running the surface in a different spatial region, am I right? This was above and this was below. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. I mean, now that's correct. You are taking one vector E. Now you are running your surface integral here. In the next one, you are running the surface integral below. The two different region, above and below. Now we are approaching that one to 0. Is that okay? Our surface is approaching to 0. So then what would happen? Again, you have to, that upper surface integral will choose the component of electric field just above. That lower surface integral will choose the component of electric field below. But there should be one negative sign. That's what I'm saying. Just see the last statement. That's what we need. Okay. So from here, he will directly write that one. Yeah. Again, you are thinking about infinite plane. Now, we don't know what is the electric field direction. It should be arbitrary. Or what else I can write? Electric field you have to take in arbitrary direction. It's not infinite plane problem. Yeah. Yeah. Any question? Quickly. So that's why one more negative sign came here. Negative sign came here. Or any other idea? You have to explain these two. Again, this part will be 0. No need to worry. You have to explain these two. These two will be converted like this. There will be no positive sign in between. That's what I'm saying. Is that okay? So we may write both positive here. That's why I have done the whole story because of that, isn't it? This will choose the component below, E perpendicular below, E perpendicular above. Why does that negative sign comes in between? Isn't it? Or let me do like this. Let me try that one. Okay. So dA vector mod dA into n cap perpendicular. Okay. This dA vector dA1 dA2. Can I write like this? dA2 vector that's equal to mod dA into minus n cap. Can I write like this? I think that's the best idea. I can avoid the whole thing, I think. Isn't it? Now I'm going to take dot product of electric field with this one, dot product of electric field with this one. Let me grab that negative sign outside. That's the best idea. Is that okay? I don't have to go for geometry at all. Isn't it? No, you don't know that one. What is happening to the magnitude? That's what I'm saying. Don't take same because it's not symmetry problem. Okay. Don't take magnitude same below and above. Is that okay? So we don't know. Again, let me just not go for these steps. Yeah, that I think I feel this is the best idea. Okay. Plus edge surface E bar dot dA bar is equal to sigma A by epsilon naught. Okay. dA1, dA2. What is dA1? This is dA1. What is dA2? This is dA2. Downward. Below that one. Now apply. So this above means, look at here, while doing this surface integral, you have to take electric field on that surface. On that above surface. Am I right? While doing this surface integral, you have to take electric field below that one. So that's why this should be above electric field. This should be below. Is that okay? So now, next one, again, actually that argument was same, okay? Cos theta have taken care of the same thing. Again, look at here. Now, again, it is masking that one again. This argument is masking that theta actually, okay? Now look at here. What would happen here is E perpendicular above, so dot product with, or what shall I write? I better to write it like this. Wait a second. Let me just neglect this part, okay? So now what I do here is E above dot mod dA1, okay? N1 cap, N cap, okay? Any question? Plus E below surface dot dA2 n cap with one more negative sign. Anyway, in the dot product, I can take off that negative sign outside. Am I right? This is minus n cap. That's equal to sigma a by epsilon naught. Yeah, I think this is the best idea. Look at here. Theta will not come into play. Now what I do here is, yeah. Now I am going to take E above dot n cap outside, because my integral should run only over area. Why? Only that is variable. In the whole thing, only that is variable. Electric field above is practically constant because we are taking very small patch, very small Gaussian surface. Is that okay? I can write this one as integral of dA1 minus, yeah, E below dot n cap integral of dA2 is equal to sigma a by epsilon naught. These are A areas. Am I right? They will get cancelled. Now, what is this one? Component of electric field above. What is this one? Component of electric field below. Isn't it? Is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. Yeah. No, dot product, am I right? Dot product, mod A, mod B, cos theta, A dot B. Yeah, next one. Yeah, we don't know again below whether it is ulta or something. Is that okay? Yeah, it is most general. Okay, it is most general. I think here in this step that question will not arise. Look at that. Yeah, speak out. This may be part of the total surface. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Again, you are thinking about infinite charge distribution where electric field like this, like this. Is that okay? You should not say like that. Now, right now, it's the most general problem. You have some electric field in space, so along with some charge. Is that okay? Or so in this argument again. So this argument is better because I don't have to take electric field at all. In this whole argument, I don't have to take what is the direction of electric field at all. Look at that, isn't it? But actually that is included. Epsilon area. So don't talk about electric field. Now look at here, only area vector will fix that negative sign. Here this is dA1, okay. Here it is dA2. Can I imagine like that? Is that okay? Now look at here, I changed that dA2 into minus n cap. N cap is in this direction, okay. N cap is in this direction, minus n cap is ulta. Is that okay? So now look at here, above and below. This is a vector below, am I right? Dot product with n cap. Vector above, dot product with n cap. Is that okay? So that means it will choose the component of electric field above and below. This is the best way. Is that okay? We better not to draw electric field because we don't know again, isn't it? Yeah. So, but what I thought earlier was, again, that negative sign, again, that is the role played by that cos theta only. Is that okay? That negative sign, that cannot be seen in that vector algebra because I just avoided it. Isn't it? Yeah. So, again, yeah, question. Over? Yeah. So, next one, again, what we got here? Remember, what is sigma here? Now let us try to understand last expression. Obviously, you have to apply that last expression ultimately. So when you try to understand last expression, what is the right hand side? It's a density, surface charge density. It's a point variable. That means you are talking about a point in space. I mean, you are talking about just above and below the plane. Okay? Discontinuity of the electric field, just above and below the plane. So that's equal to charge density, surface charge density at that plane. Is that okay? Those are linking the point variables. This equation links the point variable. Electric field just above, electric field just below. So surface charge density at that point on the surface. Is that okay? So now you can apply this one anywhere. You can apply this one anywhere. So in any surface, because you can take very small patch of the area, am I right? And you can define your discontinuity. Is that okay? Our surface need not be uniform now. Our charge density need not be uniform. Only thing is this charge density. It will take care, am I right? In this equation, so extent of charge density, it will decide the discontinuity. Is that okay? Now we shall try to apply this one to our infinite plane. We shall see what happened in case of infinite plane. Infinite plane, we got electric field already. Okay, above electric field is sigma by 2 epsilon naught into n cap. N cap is in this direction. Below it was sigma by 2 epsilon naught minus n cap. Isn't it? Again, our mind was thinking about this one always. Okay, while solving it, isn't it? Now we have some positive charge density. You have to, electric field should go here and here. Am I right? But here you should not think like that. You have to take very most general case. So that's my idea. Okay? Yeah. Again, so now look at here how it is discontinuity. Isn't it? How do you explain this one? Now if I put dot n cap here, what would I get? Sigma by 2 epsilon. Am I right? Sigma by 2 epsilon. If I put a dot n cap here, that's what I have done here. What I get? Minus sigma by 2 epsilon. Am I right? What is this one? E perpendicular below, E perpendicular above. E perpendicular above minus E perpendicular below, minus of minus plus, sigma by 2 epsilon naught plus sigma by 2 epsilon naught, sigma by epsilon. Is that okay? That was a special case. That was special case. But while deriving, you can't assume electric field is always away from the plane. That's only for symmetry. Okay? So this may be fraction of the area. I may have very weird surface, remember. So I may be taking some patch of area which has a surface charge. Is that okay? Suppose you might have having this kind of surface. Okay, suppose if you are having this kind of surface, suppose if you are taking this one, suppose there are a lot of charges here, so that you may have some net electric field here or something, isn't it? It may happen, isn't it? That surface area can be anywhere. That's what I'm saying. That's why you should not, you better not to talk about electric field. Is that okay? That's the best way to derive that. Don't talk about electric field, just only talk about n cap minus n cap, because dA vector, your area above, it will have the area vector along n cap. Obviously, area below, it will have the area vector minus n cap, and it will take care. Is that okay? That's the best idea. Yeah. So ultimately, you should be able to understand this one. Okay. So, or I can write like this: E dot n cap minus E dot E above, E below n cap is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. Look at here. Can I write like this? What is n cap? Now you have to mention here. You just mentioned it is a perpendicular component. Am I right? Above the surface. What is perpendicular? Perpendicular to the surface. It's a perpendicular component of the electric field to the surface. Perpendicular component of the electric field to the surface, just above and below. Now, if you write like this, you have to write n cap is perpendicular to the surface. And above, am I right? Perpendicular to the surface, above. Because below perpendicular to the surface is ulta, isn't it? You can write the boundary condition like this also. Ultimately, this will turn out to be like this, am I right? In a dot product, if that is not variable, you can take integral inside. And you can integrate it. Yeah, any question? Yeah. Next one. Again, let me take surface charge density sigma. Okay, here it will talk only about perpendicular component, am I right? It will not talk about parallel component, isn't it? That again, our Gauss law, I mean, whenever you run your Gaussian pillbox, our Gauss law will choose. Again, what is this one? This is the outcome of Gauss law. Now I better to write like this. This is the outcome of Gauss law. Just remember like that. Gauss law means surface integral. So surface integral will choose the component of the electric field perpendicular to the surface. Isn't it? Anyway, we are running surface parallel to this surface. Is that okay? Gauss law, again, why perpendicular component comes? By just seeing the Gauss law, you should be able to argue. Dot dA, am I right? Dot dA. dA vector will be perpendicular to the surface if you take Gaussian surface like that. So that's why it has chosen, what is that? Electric field perpendicular to the surface, above and below. Okay, that's a consequence of Gauss law. So next one, we shall take one more thing that we have in our electrostatic. What is this one? Closed path integral equal to 0, isn't it? If we try to apply this one, now let me just take, again I have to take one closed loop to apply this one, isn't it? Now what I do here is I am going to take closed loop like this, again which runs just above and below. Why I should run with just above and below? Because we are trying to find the discontinuity above and below, isn't it? So why we run our Gaussian surface above and below? Because this surface integral will choose the electric field above and below, isn't it? So now again this line integral will also choose the electric field above and below, isn't it? When you run your loop like that. Now let me run my loop like this, just above and below, and again this is epsilon. This is epsilon. Am I right? So now look at here, again the same argument. So again I'm going to put that epsilon tends to 0 later. So this is above, below. So E bar dot dl bar above plus E bar dot dl bar below. So plus, so what shall I take? Adjust this edge here and here. Anyway, we are shrinking that one to 0. You don't have to worry about this part. E bar dot dl bar is equal to 0. Okay. So while doing this one, look at here, it will choose the, you have to take electric field along that line. Am I right? While doing this line integral, you have to take electric field below. While doing this line integral, you have to take electric field above. What is that dot product? That is the electric field at that point, dot product with the infinitesimal line element, isn't it? So now this is above, this is below. Is that okay? Now if suppose this is one direction, suppose let me take, what shall I take? should not take n cap. N cap looks like perpendicular now, isn't it? Let me take this one as y cap. Then this will be minus y cap. Am I right? So this dl vector, let me just write it down. Now look at here, E above dot y cap or dot mod dl into y cap, okay, above. So plus E below dot mod dl into minus y cap is equal to 0. I am not taking care of this one. Is that okay? So now look at here, you have one more negative sign here. You have one more negative sign. So this dot product will choose parallel component of the electric field above. Why? This will run parallel, isn't it? You are taking dot product of electric field with a vector, with a unit vector parallel to the surface. So that's why. So let me write like this: E above dot y cap minus here E below dot y cap is equal to 0. What is the idea next? E above dot y cap is equal to E below dot y cap. What do you mean by that? What is y cap? Parallel to the surface. Now look at here. You can choose this one reverse way. Okay, that's your choice. Entire thing is your choice, isn't it? Whenever we have surface integral, we got only one choice. There was no clockwise, anti-clockwise, that kind of confusion. Am I right? So, but when you have a line integral, you have both clockwise and anti-clockwise. What is this one? This is anti-clockwise. You can take clockwise also. Is that okay? Then it will choose the electric field in this direction. That's it. Okay, that y cap and minus y cap may be inverted, but this equality will be valid. This equality will be valid. What is that one? What is y cap? Y cap is the unit vector parallel to the plane. Can I say like that? Now I can just turn this one, isn't it? The same thing will happen. Again, epsilon tends to 0. That's what I have to take. Okay, so that this part will be 0. When I put epsilon tends to 0, this above path and below path, they will be very close to the surface. That's why those dot products will choose just above and below. Is that okay? We write E parallel above is equal to parallel component of the electric field suffer continuity. It is continuous. Yeah, recall. Now you have to ask one more question. When we talk about the parallel component, there are infinitely many parallel directions to the plane. Isn't it? If you take a fraction of a plane, again, this need not be, the entire thing need not be plane, okay? But fraction of that one you can imagine that's a planar surface, remember. Is that okay? That's what, so that's where I'm applying the whole story. So now, again, while writing this one, remember, it is irrespective of the orientation of this one, am I right? This result is irrespective of orientation of your path. You can just rotate this one and you will get the same answer, isn't it? So that's why, so this is true for all parallel directions, isn't it? That is true for all parallel directions. So again, so there are infinitely many parallel directions. There are only two perpendicular directions to the plane, above and below. Am I right? But there are infinitely many parallel directions to the plane. So, I mean, we said parallel components are continuous. Which parallel component? Question comes. Am I right? All parallel components are continuous. Remember, whatever the parallel component you take, it is continuous. Or equivalently, we can write like this. E vector parallel above is equal to E vector parallel below. Is that okay? So that's the most general statement. Because again, that can be in any direction because it is irrespective of direction. I mean, or if you write like this, the question comes. That's why we better write like this. If you write like this, question comes. What is that one? Which parallel direction we are talking about, isn't it? That's why you better write like this. Any vector in a plane, you can just take it like this. Okay. So now we got two results. One is E bar dot dl bar path integral is equal to 0. That led to E parallel above is equal to E parallel below. Whenever I write a vector, then there will be no confusion, isn't it? Component of electric field parallel to the surface above, component of the electric field below, so parallel to the surface below. Okay. So now look at here. Here that kind of question never arises, isn't it? Which perpendicular direction? There is only one perpendicular direction. But here question will arise. That's why you have to write your continuity condition in terms of vector. Is that okay? So now this is a consequence of this equation. This is the consequence of this equation. Nothing different. Is that okay? So one is curl of electric field equal to 0. Another one is divergence is equal to rho by epsilon naught. Again Gauss law and one more part. Okay, we don't have any name for this one. We don't have any name for this one. Now again these two are consequence of this one. We call them as boundary conditions. Now I want to combine these two. I want to write the equation for a whole vector. Isn't it? This is a component vector, am I right? This is a component vector. This is also component magnitude. We have taken only magnitude here. Because there was no question in which direction it is, isn't it? Perpendicular to the surface. So, but I want to combine them. I want to write the discontinuity or whatever for the whole vector. Then what you can do? Any idea? Any vector, you have one is n cap, that's already decided. Other one, you can choose some parallel direction. So let me take y cap. Okay, you have a plane somewhere here. You have vector, so perpendicular and parallel component. Is that okay? So now what I do here is I am going to multiply this whole equation by n cap. E perpendicular above minus E perpendicular below. I am going to multiply it by n cap. Okay. So I am going to write this equation E parallel above minus E parallel below is equal to 0. Now I am going to vectorially add these two. I will get my point. E perpendicular above into n cap. What is this one? It is perpendicular component. Can I write this one as E vector perpendicular above? Isn't it? What it was actually E parallel dot y cap. Am I right? Earlier, before writing that one, it was E parallel above. Am I right? So now can I just write like this? Minus E perpendicular vector below sigma by epsilon naught into n cap. Let me add these two vectorially. What I get here is E vector above minus E vector below is equal to sigma by epsilon naught n cap. This one equation should tell these two conditions. Now you have one vector. Remember, you got many choice of taking parallel component. That's what I'm saying. Are you getting my point? Only one choice of taking perpendicular component. Am I right? But you have infinitely many choice of taking parallel component. Parallel to the surface. I'm talking about surface. So now from this one, again you should be able to write these two equations. By just splitting this one parallel, perpendicular, you have only perpendicular components. That's why perpendicular components will be related to perpendicular one. Parallel component will be related to 0. This whole equation is a combined equation, where n cap is unit vector perpendicular to the surface. Yeah, question. Okay, now you should be able to apply this one in any manner. Again, just like Gauss law and that line integrals, those things. This is also plays same role, remember, whole electrodynamics, boundary condition. And there are a lot of problems on it. Again, it was half a page actually. Yeah, if you got any other idea of deriving the whole thing, okay, just post that one. Okay, he just gave a very in one sentence from here to here, he will write only one sentence. So this dot product will choose the component, perpendicular component. He hasn't argued how this negative sign comes. Here also, he hasn't argued how that negative sign comes. That you have to argue that one. Okay, yeah. The problem is we could have done this one first actually, without going to that our Gauss law problem. Whenever we go for Gauss law problem, electric field direction was predetermined, isn't it? Electric field direction and its dependencies were already, we got that one by inspection, remember. Here also our mind will always try to do that one. So then you will not get that negative sign if you do like that. Is that okay? So that's why. So again, why this negative sign comes, so try to explain in your way. So here also negative sign, isn't it? Again, whenever you are writing parallel components, since there are many parallel directions, you have to refer which parallel direction you are talking about. That's why you have to write that one in vector form. Is that clear? Yeah. So now, yeah, I have, let me take 5 more minutes. Wait a second. Do you remember I talked about directional derivative? Again, I'll take this one. What was this one a step before? E above dot n cap. A step before, minus E below dot n cap is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. Is that okay? Now, can I write E above as del V above? Del V above, am I right? Gradient of the potential above dot n cap minus del V below. What is this one? Gradient dot product with some particular direction, unit vector in the particular direction. That is directional derivative. No, you better not to write anything. So del V dot x cap, what you got? Partial derivative is a directional derivative. Partial derivative is a directional derivative. That means we will go in one particular direction by keeping other two constant. Am I right? What do you mean by partial derivative with respect to x? Keep y and z constant. That means you are moving along x direction. Is that okay? So partial derivative is a directional derivative. So del v dot y cap. That what is this one? Dou v by. I hope you know the Cartesian definition. It will choose that component. So like that z. Okay, one more negative sign. Yeah, minus. I better take that negative sign over there. here. Is that okay? So now look at here. So del V dot n cap, I better write dou V by dou n. Dot x cap, I defined one variable along x cap. Dot y cap, we defined one variable. We already defined variable along y cap. Dot n cap, I better to define one variable along n cap. Is that okay? Because that should be general. Our statement should be general now. So that's why what I write here is I am going to take this negative sign here. Okay? We write dou V by dou n. What is n? Variable along n cap. Okay? Minus dou V by dou n. Above, below. I have taken negative sign here, minus sigma by epsilon. Derivative of the potential, partial derivative of the potential perpendicular to this direction of the plane, or perpendicular to the plane direction, perpendicular to the plane, suffer discontinuity. This is just nothing but, this is just equivalent to this statement. These two statements are equal, but we are going to use this one in the next chapter to find a surface charge in some problem. We are going to use this equation in next chapter. Over. We talked about how derivative of the potential suffer discontinuity, not potential. Am I right? So now we shall see how potential, how potential varies when you go via surface charge sigma. Isn't it? Then what you have to take? You have to take, potential above and below. Am I right? So you take here and here. One is point, below one is point A, above one is point B. Is that okay? Now, what you have to write? You have to find the difference. Just write B minus VA. And just find that one. What is this one? Minus integral A to B, E bar dot dl bar. Am I right? Now take one path. B to A or A to B? Path. Path integral. A to B, A to B. Am I right? Now shrink this path to 0. So that you will get just V above, just V below. Are you getting my point? I have taken one point above the surface, one point below the surface. I defined this path integral. Is that okay? Now shrink that path to 0. Okay, or let me take this distance as epsilon, and I'll make epsilon tends to 0. When you make that epsilon tends to 0, what would happen? This part will be 0. This line integral is 0. If when you put epsilon tends to 0, that means this B point will come closer to the surface above. This A point will come closer to the surface below. That's why V above minus V below. VB becomes V above, V below. That's equal to 0. V above is equal to V below. Potential is always continuous. But normal derivative or directional derivative of the potential suffer discontinuity. Obviously, derivative of the potential is related to electric field. Am I right? Electric field suffer discontinuity. So those are again equivalent. Wait a second. Q was the total charge on the surface. Shell problem. Electric field was discontinuous. Am I right? Even you can show that a discontinuity is sigma by epsilon naught. You can show that one. That okay, by taking that one. But what was the potential inside? Any idea? Any idea? What was the potential outside? When you put R equal to capital R, that means on the surface where you have surface charge, potential is continuous. Is that okay? Potential is continuous. Now, that formula said only perpendicular component of the electric field is discontinuous. Parallel component is continuous. Am I right? What is parallel to the surface? Theta or pi cap. Because electric field, it is already in r cap. Am I right? I mean, r cap is perpendicular to the surface. If you take surface over which I have a surface charge density, am I right? Surface charge density. What is the perpendicular to the surface? R cap direction. What is the parallel to the surface? That may be theta cap or pi cap, whatever. Now, you don't have electric field below as well as above the surface in the direction parallel to the surface. That's why it is continuous. 0, 0, that's also continuous. Are you getting my point? Electric field parallel is 0. Electric field is 0 means electric field parallel is equal to 0. Am I right? Above also, there is no parallel component of the electric field to the surface. Only perpendicular component of the electric field. Everything will happen automatically. Potential is continuous. Perpendicular component of the electric field is discontinuous. Parallel component of the electric field is continuous. Okay, just observe those things. So, you should be able to apply those equations. Okay. Yeah. So, take a quick break. Again, problem number 2.30, 30th problem. It is to verify these things for a different problem like this. Okay. Just do that. Yeah. So, take a break. We shall continue.